So Caitlin Clark's final game for Team USA in this crop of games, and who knows, I've said this plenty of times where I'm like, there's no guarantee Caitlin plays in the World Cup. Like if we are coming into the World Cup period and the Fever are the 7th seed or the 6th seed and they're 1 to 2 games off the playoffs, or God forbid they've had some injury crisis and they're in 9.
So this might be the last time we see Caitlin Clark in a Team USA jersey for years. Not because she's being cut, not because of politics or roster decisions, but because of something nobody's talking about. The Indiana Fever season could literally prevent her from playing in the World Cup, and the way she performs against Spain in this final qualifier is about to reveal just how dangerous this young USA team could become.
Seed, or they're fighting for the 1 seed, and yeah, maybe they're fighting for the 1 seed. If any of those scenarios happen, there's a chance Caitlin Clark doesn't play in the World Cup. So this could be the last time we see Caitlin Clark putting on a Team USA jersey for a couple of years. It could very well be. That being said, this is a big enough game. For everybody saying, oh, like Spain.
Here's the situation. If the Fever are fighting for a playoff spot when the World Cup rolls around, Caitlin's not going. If they're the 7th seed clawing for position, she stays home. If they've had an injury crisis and they're battling to stay in contention, Team USA moves forward without their most dynamic guard. The WNBA season doesn't stop for international competition, and Indiana's not going to sacrifice their franchise player for a tournament when they're trying to build something. That's the reality nobody wants to admit.
Lost to Italy, Spain suck. No, they don't. So you know what Spain were doing against Italy? Hockey subs. They were subbing 5 in at a time. Do you know what Italy were doing? Running their best players into the ground because they knew if they won, they'd qualify for the World Cup. Spain had already qualified. Before that game, Spain had qualified. Italy needed to win to qualify. And I'm sorry, if USA went hockey subs and started going 5 players, playing players 5 minutes at a time and not letting any.
But let's talk about what people got wrong about this Spain team. After Spain lost to Italy, the takes were immediate. Spain's overrated. They're not a real threat. USA's going to destroy them. Except everyone missed the context. Spain had already qualified for the World Cup before that Italy game. They were running hockey substitutions, 5 players in and out at a time, treating it like a scrimmage. Meanwhile, Italy was running their best players into the ground because that win meant World Cup qualification for them. Of course, the results looked different.
Rhythm happen and doing all that crap against Italy. They don't win by 35. Because there were multiple lineups against Italy that were losing. Lineups. Like, Italy were competitive for large chunks of that game, and Italy were rotating players in and out, whereas they didn't against Spain. They went for it. Should USA beat Spain? Yeah. If USA played against Italy, Spain have no chance.
When USA played Italy and won by 35 points, they weren't experimenting with lineups, they were executing. They had multiple rotations that were losing lineups against Italy, and Italy still couldn't capitalize because USA's talent gap was too wide. But Italy was competitive for large chunks of that game, while rotating players. Against Spain, Italy went with their starters and fought desperately. Comparing those 2 games directly is missing the entire point of how international basketball tournaments work.
The expectation from Caitlin Clark in this game, they have nobody that can guard Caitlin. Like, they don't even really have a pick and roll defender. Like, if they let Caitlin run wild, she's going to have a ridiculous game. Like, their best, like, Awafam is a decent enough hedge defender, but, like, Caitlin's probably going to be guarded by Yana Martin for large chunks of the game. And Caitlin's going to attack Awafam. And, like, as good as Awafam is, she's 19 years old. Like, I'm hoping Caitlin could go downhill in the 19-year-old and score.
So what makes Spain dangerous? Start with their defensive matchup problem. They don't have anyone who can guard Caitlin Clark in isolation. Their best perimeter defender is probably Yana Martin, and she's going to get attacked relentlessly in pick and roll situations. Their best hedge defender is Lori Rahu, who's 19 years old. Caitlin's going to attack downhill against a teenager and force Spain to make rotation decisions they're not prepared for. When Meg Gustafson is on the floor as Spain's big, we're going to see some Aliyah Boston-level crimes in the pick and roll. Caitlyn's going to walk her into actions that create wide-open looks.
To be fair, actually, their starters are probably going to be Mariana Ortiz and Awafam. There's going to be lines where it's Meg Gustafson out there, and Caitlyn's going to... It's just Iowa v. Iowa. There's going to be some Iowa v. Iowa crime. Like what Caitlin Clark can do to Meg Gustafson in the pick and roll. On the offensive end for Spain, they're not a physical bruising team. They're a full finesse team. If USA insist on trapping every screen, Spain are going to be able to make passes to get open layups. Like, all you have to do is just bring up a guard to be a release pass and then dump it into the post, and it's wide open every time. It doesn't really matter. The way they trap, they don't recover hard enough, they don't help over enough. It's just a lot of things.
But here's where it gets interesting on the other end. Spain's not a physical bruising team. They're pure finesse, and if USA insists on trapping every screen the way they've been doing, Spain's going to punish them with ball movement. All Spain has to do is bring up a guard as a release valve, dump it into the post, and suddenly it's a wide open layup because USA's trap recovery is sloppy. They don't rotate hard enough. They don't help off the right players. And the communication breakdowns on this USA team have been wild to watch. Players are constantly miscommunicating defensive assignments, and a skilled passing team like Spain is built to exploit exactly that.
And Caitlin helps, or say Paige overplays the ball because she's told to overplay the ball. Gets beat backdoor. It happens. Caitlin comes in and helps and makes the right rotation. They swing to the corner and they hit a shot. I'm like, that's what you give up. That's the shit you give up with that defense. And there's times as well where it's like, players will miscommunicate. The amount of times this players in this team USA miscommunicate is crazy as well. It is crazy how much they miscommunicate. And I think Spain are going to punish that. I expect this game to be a lot closer. A lot closer. Like, I don't think they're going to have a 17-point first quarter lead. Like, if you look at this team, you're looking how many players that I would consider to be have played in the WNBA or
Look at Spain's roster construction. This is not the Spain team from 8 years ago that made the Euro finals. Not a single player from that roster is still here. This is a completely rebuilt team centered around youth. Their oldest rotation player is Mariana Ortiz at 31, and she's legitimately good. Don't let the stats fool you. She gives you a flawless 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists with almost no weaknesses. Leo Palau is a solid backup level WNBA player. Raquel Carrera is going to be very solid for the New York Liberty this year. Maria Conde at 28 is one of their veterans now. This team has WNBA caliber talent spread throughout the rotation.
Puyo, maybe. Maria Conde might start for the Valks. Awafam, starter on a low team, backup on a good team. She's 19. Meg Gustafson, solid enough backup in the WNBA. Raquel Carrera will be very solid for the New York Liberty this year. Yana Martin could be a lottery pick. Ginzo, again, end of range bench type of job. And the big thing is they play together. This is a really young team. Like, Meg Gustafson's my age, I think. Yeah, she's 29. She's a few months younger than me. You're looking here at Raquel Carrera. Raquel Carrera's.
And they play together. That matters more than people realize. Raquel Carrera is 24 years old and she's coming in as a veteran presence on this team. She's not the young player anymore. This Spain roster is built around players in their early to mid-20s who have been playing together in European competitions for years. They know each other's tendencies. They trust each other's decisions. Meanwhile, USA is running a roster that's still figuring out rotations and chemistry. When you're facing a cohesive unit that moves the ball and makes the extra pass, individual talent only takes you so far if the defensive communication isn't locked in.
A vet on this team. She's not the young player anymore. Maria Conde is 28 years old. Sorry, 29 years old now. She is, again, these are where the vets are in their 20s. This is a young team. Gatorda's a bit older, I think. No, she's not. She's, only 29 as well. Like, this is a really young team. Not one player from the team that made the Euro or the World Cup 8 years ago. Like, Mariana Ortiz is their oldest player. Mariana Ortiz is really good. Don't let the stats like fool you. She can.
This Spain team nearly won Eurobasket last year. They beat France. Minus not just beat them, but dominated stretches of that game before choking in the final moments. They're not some pushover team that USA can sleepwalk through. Beating Italy by 35 points was genuinely impressive because Italy's not an easy out, but beating New Zealand by 50 or Senegal by 65 doesn't tell you anything. Those blowouts are expected. The Italy result matters because it showed USA can execute against a team with legitimate WNBA level players who understand how to play organized basketball.
Players that is like, gives you a kind of flawless 5-5-5 who doesn't really have that many weaknesses, albeit she kind of fucked up bad in Eurobasket last year in the final. But like, this is a team that has pretty much won Eurobasket. I don't care what anyone says. They beat France. And not only did they beat France, they just choked. They just choked. Like, you're not going to have the... Like, choking isn't going to really matter too much at the end of the day when it comes down to this game, because there's nothing to choke. Both of these teams are qualified. It's an exhibition for both teams. But I think Spain are going to want this more than USA. I think they're going to want it more than America. That being said...
If USA beats Spain by 30 or 40 points with what is essentially their B and C team at the forward positions, that should terrify the rest of the world, because this USA roster is missing their elite forwards. They've got their guards, minus Caitlin and Paige are there, but the forward rotation is nowhere near what it'll be at the Olympics. When Chelsea Gray and the veteran guards come in to start games at the Olympics, and Caitlin and Paige are coming off the bench to run second units, teams are going to have no answer. You can't prepare for that kind of depth. France might match up better with USA's size, and Belgium could give France problems. But if this current USA roster dismantles Spain, it's a preview of complete dominance.
Like, Spain are a tougher test. And I've said this plenty of times. Beating Italy by 30 was by a mile their best game. Like, that is not... Beating Italy by 35 points was not easy. Like, that is not easy. Beating New Zealand by 50, beating Puerto Rico by 40, beating Senegal by 65 doesn't matter. None of that matters. Beating Italy by 35 does. That really does. And if they pull off anything similar, then okay, no one's ever beaten America. Like, Spain might be like, if you're looking at who the best teams in the world are, it is USA, and then I think France just match up better to the United States, but like, Belgium could beat France, as could Spain.
The expectation for Caitlin in this game should be a showcase. Spain doesn't have the defensive personnel to contain her in pick and roll actions. They're going to try to trap, and when they do, she's going to make the reads that create open threes or backdoor cuts. Laura Rahu is talented for a 19-year-old, but Caitlin's going to attack her off the dribble and force help rotations. When Meg Gustafson is on the floor, we're going to see drop coverage that Caitlin will pick apart with her pull-up game. This is a matchup designed for her to put up numbers. The question is whether she'll need to, or if USA's depth just overwhelms Spain early and turns it into garbage time.
Like, guard-wise, they pretty much have all their guards, but forward-wise, they're B team, and in some cases, C or D team. Like, it's actually could be scary. It could be scary what this Team USA team can do when they have their full team there, especially with that. Like, not going to be, like, Caitlin and Paige aren't going to be the backcourt, because they're going to start Chelsea Gray and some other old player. But like, when it comes down to it, and Caitlin and Paige are playing together, like, to start during the Olympics, like as the quote unquote real backcourt to win games, like, it's gonna be unguardable. It's gonna be absolutely unguardable. Let's be real. But yeah, if I'm really interested in this game, because I was about to say, oh, it'll decide the MVP. I don't think there's such a thing as MVP of a World Cup.
Here's what makes this game matter beyond the final score. Both teams have already qualified for their respective next stages. This is technically an exhibition, but Spain's going to want this more than USA. They're playing at home in front of their fans. They want to prove they belong in conversations with the elite teams. They want to show that losing to Italy was about effort management, not talent deficit. USA, on the other hand, might be in experimentation mode, trying different rotations and seeing what works. That could keep this game closer than the talent gap suggests. Or USA could come out with something to prove and blow them out in the first quarter. What we're really watching here is a stress test. Can Spain's finesse game exploit USA's communication breakdowns? Can Caitlin Clark dominate against European defensive schemes the way she does in the WNBA? Can USA's depth overwhelm a cohesive team that plays smart, unselfish basketball? These are the questions that matter more than the final score, and for Caitlyn specifically, this might be her last chance to wear the USA jersey for 2 or 3 years. If the Fever make the leap everyone expects minus, if they're competing for a top 4 seed and home court advantage, there's zero chance she plays in the World Cup. Indiana's not risking their franchise cornerstone in international competition when they're trying to build a championship contender. That's just reality. So this game against Spain becomes her audition for the 2028 Olympics. It's her chance to show she can run an offense against sophisticated international defenses. It's her opportunity to prove she belongs in those high-pressure moments when the talent gap isn't as wide and the execution has to be perfect. Because when the Olympics come around and the roster decisions get made, they're going to remember how she performed in moments exactly like this one. Spain's going to make this competitive. They have too much talent and too much chemistry not to. They're not going to roll over just because USA has more individual stars. They're going to move the ball, attack mismatches, and try to turn this into a half-court game where their experience playing together matters more than USA's athleticism. That's their only path to keeping this close. But if USA executes the way they did against Italy, if they lock in defensively, communicate their rotations, and let their talent advantage take over, this could get ugly fast. And that's the scary part for the rest of the world. This USA team is still figuring things out. They're still building chemistry, they're still experimenting with rotations, and they're already this good when they add their Olympic-level forwards and get everyone healthy and integrated, when Caitlyn and Paige are running the second unit instead of carrying the starting lineup, when the defensive communication is locked in and everyone knows their role. That's when this team becomes truly unstoppable. Spain's gonna give us a preview of whether that potential is real or just hype, and based on what we've seen so far, my money's on real.